Our next case is on page 6. Our next case is on page 6, case number BE 20050185. Case address 920 Intracoastal Drive, number 1201. Owner Indapal and Harpreet Kanwal. Property posted 10/26/2020. Posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Good morning, Mr. Indapal.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Yes, hi, good morning. I did get the notice. I have spoken to the contractor. The contractor tells me that he has tried to get in touch with the code officer. I presume that's you, Mr. Martinez, on Friday and was not able to do so. So I will pass this on to him with the name and number and make sure that we're in compliance within the slotted time.
All right. Okay, for the record, I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
And I just want a quick question. The contractor would know what it is that he needs to do on this case?
So, hopefully so.
Okay, great. I shall make sure that he gets in touch with you, Mr. Martinez, over the next day or two.
Any question, you can get in touch with Inspector Martinez.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 15. Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Case number BE 20050126. Case address 2700 Northeast 57th Court. Owner Nico's 2700 LLC. This property was cited on 5/8/2020 to comply by 5/11/2020. One section complied at $200 per day, $1,600 accrued. The city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez, in behalf of the city.
One second, sorry, we're waiting on a respondent. Mr. Cicaglione, please start your video.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Inspector Martinez, in behalf of the city. I would prefer to let the owner speak.
All right, sir, your turn.
Yes, Your Honor. Just at the time of the violation, from the stones being placed on the curb, there was transaction being conducted from the rear to the front of the property. Inspector Martinez, I think he posted a stop work order on the property. It was an emergency seawall repair. It was caving in, it's shifting. They had difficulties trying to get a hold of officials at the department for permitting. We did have an emergency approvals from Broward County to tackle this shifting seawall on the property, which was detrimental to the entire project and the property caving in into the canal. The delays were a proper response to removing these blocks from the curb were in process, and the contractor was removed from the property based on the notice of stop work. And then they were trying to get a hold of Mr. Martinez for a few days. Obviously, the weekend had transpired, and then the contractor Joe Harper was finally in contact with the department manager to resolve and allow for permission back onto the property to continue to remove the rest of the C blocks. Obviously, there was 12 at the curb, and there was still a few more in the back, and they're about 100 pounds each. So quite a difficult time to remove those blocks in a timely manner within the 72 hours due to COVID operating difficulties at City Hall to get permission to go back on the property and remove these C blocks. So we did it as quickly as we could, and we had to arrange for the receiver to properly receive them with all the COVID conditions on for the contractors on sites at the time to do the precautionary safety measures to be removed. I just asked the courts to reduce the time allowable for the removal of these blocks due to these circumstances during that very hectic period of COVID disarray. Everybody was kind of like uncertain on how to proceed. And obviously the inspector was to give permission for the contractor to go back onto the property and finalize the removal of these C blocks.
Anything else from the city?
Yes, Your Honor. When I arrived to the property, I found the workers there, and I was told by the workers at the time that they were placing the pieces of seawall on the swell that the truck was on the way to remove it. I let them know that it need to be removed. So the citation came on the next day when I came back, and the pieces still were deposited on the swell. They weren't removed. And I was continuously coming back to the place, and the pieces were there for several days and never were removed. I just want to add that to the case.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I'm going to grant the city's request to impose fines of $1,600.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our next case is on page 16. Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Case number CE 19060972, case address 5200 Northwest 31st Avenue. Owner Villas at Lakeview Condo Association, Inc. This case was first heard on 11/12/19 to comply by 12/24/19, suspended 2/11/2020 to 3/25/2020. One section complied at $50 per day, $950 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Mr. Dobrin. Can you please raise your right hand? You swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Inspector.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez, in behalf of the city, this is an expired permit. I will let the owner to address it.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Villas at Lakeview Condo Association. My understanding is that the permits were finalized and closed as of March 10th, 2020. We hired a contractor to take care of that. We received screenshots from the city system attesting to the same, and I have them here. And I also have the bill from the contractor that took care of this. I would request that no fines be imposed. We took care of the situation. The delay happened because we did have a prior management company, which we fired. We have a new one that did not follow up timely. So that is the reason we were not even aware that the permit was still open. So as soon as we were notified, we took diligent action, and the permit was closed as of March.
Anything else on behalf of the city?
Nope.
All right. I'm going to grant the city's request to impose fines.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, can you speak up?
I'm sorry.
I did not hear the decision.
Okay, the decision, I'm granting the city's request and imposing fines of $950. Thank you.
Your Honor, we did comply with what was requested of us. We already spent $3,000 on the contractor to resolve the issue.
You're out of compliance for 19 days, and thank you. I've made my ruling.
Thank you. Our next case is on page 17. Inspector Jose Saragusti, case number BE 20060279, case address 425 Southwest 4th Avenue, number 201, owner, Housing Authority of the City of Fort Lauderdale. This property was cited on 6/26/2020 to comply by 6/26/2020. One section complied at $500 per day, $2,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Is there a respondent here for this?
Excuse me, can you repeat the case number?
BE 20060279.
On page 17, the second.
Give me 1 second, please.
Okay. One moment, Jose.
Okay.
Roberto.
Hello?
Hi, Brian.
Wait,
Hey,
hold-
sorry about that. I got kicked when I raised my hand. I guess I didn't. See
One
it.
moment, please.
Yeah.
Roberto Socorro. You had your hand raised?
Yeah, I was just jumping on for Brian, but he got on. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I go in now?
Mhm.
Okay.
Wait.
Hi.
Let's City ready to proceed?
No, the respondent just disconnected from the hearing, so we're going to recall this case while he gets logged back in.
We're going to recall this case,
Okay, thank you.
Our next case is on page 4. I'm sorry, on pages 3 and 4. On page 3, case number BE 20040150, Inspector Jose Saragusti, case address 7 Northeast 16th Street, owner Brooks Family Properties. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. BE 20040150, case address 229 South Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard, owner LAD FL Beach CR LLC, property posted 10/29/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020. And on page 4, case number BE 20040152, case address 219 South Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard, owner LAD FL Beach CR LLC, property posted 10/29/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020. Good morning, Courtney.
Morning, Courtney.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On page 3, BE 200400150. And on page 4, BE 200405152. 229 South Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard and 219 South Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard.
Good morning. Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. Permits were left to expire as stated on today's agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good
Courtney
morning.
Crush on behalf of the land lessee. We would appreciate the time to take care of what looks like some very old permits on the property. And I've already engaged a contractor to do so.
Okay, let's just go ahead and dispose of both of them. 63 days to comply. 63 days,
Thank you, Your Honor.
$50 per day thereafter.
Understood.
Is that for both cases, Your Honor, on
For
pages
both
3 and 4?
cases.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
We're recalling the case on page 17 for Inspector Jose Saragusti. Case number BE 20060279, case address 425 Southwest 4th Avenue, number 201. Owner Housing Authority of the City of Fort Lauderdale. This property was cited on 6/26/2020. To comply by 6/26/2020, one section complied at $500 per day, $2,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Brian. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you. One moment for the inspector.
Okay.
Mr. Brian,
Yes.
would you like Roberto Socorro to be in the
No, he's my assistant. He was just listening in, learning. Tam English was supposed to be online with the Housing Authority. I'm not sure if he was available or not.
Could you repeat the first name?
Tam, Tam English. I'm not sure if he's on. He's represents the Housing Authority of the City of Fort Lauderdale. I'm the project manager for the general contractor for them.
Tam is not present.
Okay.
Good morning. Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is complied. The city requesting for fine to be imposed.
All right, on behalf of the owner.
Yeah, we were just asking for some lenience on this. I know when Inspector Saragusti came out, he had called me. He did mention that there was a street cut that was done by the city public works for our water taps. They did remove a bunch of silt fencing and stuff like that. So there was dirt in the street and so forth. So he had asked me to replace silt fencing in that area where the city made the cut, and also to add some additional ballast rock. That same day, I found out that my general superintendent had contracted or tested positive with COVID, and I had to send several of my forces home that day. So it did take a few days for me to get back in line to get all that stuff back together. And we were just asking for some lenience on those fines.
Sorry.
Yes, but there are some days for the to be complied. It was not immediately. And for
Yeah,
that,
well, we were cited on a Friday, and like I said, that Friday is when I had to send everybody home. I didn't have anybody on Saturday, Sunday. So Monday is when I was able to regroup my forces. I know it was complied with on by Wednesday when Inspector Alvarez had checked the property out. So it just took a couple days for me to regroup and get everything together accordingly.
What are the city?
And this is also, I mean, for it's an affordable housing project for the city of Fort Lauderdale. So any fines that are imposed on this come from, I mean, out of stuff that we can be putting toward the housing authority. So
Hard cost,
sorry?
what's that?
hard
Yes.
cost incurred
Yes.
by the city.
I didn't hear, sorry.
Yeah, sir.
there any hard costs, like admin costs or hard costs?
Oh, I don't believe there are any. I'm not sure, Inspector Saragusti, but I don't believe of any hard costs that are incurred right now by from us on the city. We if that's what you're asking.
$575 is the hard cost.
Okay, repeat that, please.
$575.
575?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to impose hard costs, $575.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you. Our next case is on page 18. Inspector Jose Saragusti. Case number CE 19061352. Case address 2730 Southwest 19th Street. Owner Gerard and Daphne Diofe. This case was first heard on 11/12/19 to comply by 12/24/19, suspended 1/17/2020 to 4/18/2020, and 4/19/2020 to 9/4/2020. One section not complied at $50 per day, $4,600 accrued. The city is requesting full amount and fines continue to accrue.
Good morning, Mr. Diofe.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I-
Thank you.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is complied, and the city is requesting for fines to be imposed.
Okay, it is complied.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Inspector, I think you need to say the date when it was complied, because on the agenda it shows not complied.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have the correct information in this case.
I have some information.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I actually made my permit application on the 20th of November, 2019. Here it is, right here. I also have a printout from Seller Citizen Access that also states that same thing. However, it says that it was, let's see, voided on 11/20, which I don't understand. When I made my permit application, a master permit for the items on my property, which had one case number, this was advised by my architect that we could make a master permit because all the items were structural, which we did. And we submitted it and it was accepted, and I paid my fees and I handed over all the paperwork that we had to develop, including all the plan sets, all the paperwork, everything was submitted. And while I was there, I asked the permit clerk when I could expect some kind of response. And she said in about 2 weeks. I waited 2 weeks, I didn't hear a thing. After 3 weeks, I reached out and she said that there was a problem with the permits, and she suggested I contact the building department, which I did. And I spoke to Mr. Oliver, and he told me that everything seemed fine except my patio cover. There was an issue with being remanded to zoning. So I reach out to zoning and I start dealing with them. So I did deal with them. I did all their requirements as well. I submitted all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we were set for a variance hearing, I believe it was February. Then COVID hit and it was delayed and delayed and delayed. And now I still find myself in a state of limbo with regards to this, waiting for a decision from zoning. I can tell you right now what I'm looking at here, this Excella Citizen Access, everything has been checked off except the fact that the patio cover was remanded to zoning. So I wouldn't have known any of this if I hadn't taken my own incentive and reached out to find out. Even then, I don't think I was told everything I needed to know. And I still find myself in a state of limbo here. So since then, since all of this, since this last magistrate's hearing on October the 13th, with which I came to listen, because that's what the notification instructed me to do. When I got there, I was told that now it was supposed to be virtual, but I didn't have that piece of paper. That wasn't given to me. In fact, I was given 2 of the same piece of paper in the envelope. I then met Mr. Saragusti and I spoke to Mr. Oliva, and they told me that I had abandoned the permit, or the permit had been abandoned. And I asked why. And they said, well, because I couldn't apply for a master permit on this, although it was accepted and everything else was checked off at that time. I'm still confused about it. So what it boils down to is, since that time, I've reached out to permitting that very same day, actually, October the 13th of the last hearing, and they told me the same thing. So I started speaking to my architect again, and I started working through all of this. And what we've done so far is we have separated the plans. We are going to apply for separate permits for things that were already checked off and reapply for the fence, for the boat davit, and for the dock. The patio cover is still with zoning. So we're going to do all of that. In fact, I would have done it yesterday, but your offices were closed because of ETA. So here I sit now, and I'm being fined. You see, now I've also received a notice here from the city stating that there was a fine amount of what, $1,900. Now I hear it's 5,000 and change. I mean, I never really ever seem to get the full facts. I'm not quite sure how to follow up other than send numerous emails to all sorts of individuals: Mr. Oliva, Mr. Saragusti, Louisa Agathon, Chris Cooper, Ben Sorensen, Anthony Fajaro. I mean, we have sent loads of emails to find out what's going on. In fact, Ben Sorensen's office said that they were going to sort this out. I believe Mr. Anthony Fajaro is actually on vacation until November the 16th. So, you know, we are doing absolutely everything in our power to be in compliance with the city, but COVID seems to have caused an issue. We are doing what we can.
Mr. Oliva.
Chief Oliva, in behalf of the city, this case, what we're here for today is to ask for the fine to be stayed for 90 days due to the fact that the owner of the property needs to have a variance, and he's going once more time in front of the board. So we need to stop the fine for 90 days and allow him enough time to try to get a variance for his property. After the 90 days, if he doesn't comply, then we will request the fine to begin.
That's very reasonable. I'm going to stay the fines as of this date.
Thank you.
I guess we reset this in 91 days. Or February 9th, 2021.
Okay. So the property owner unfortunately was disconnected due to technical issues. So he may come back into the room, and then we'll just call him back in so that we can ensure that he heard the ruling. We're going to move on to the next case while we wait. Our next case is on page 3. Inspector Jose Saragusti. Case number BE 19110014. Case address 2960 Northwest 19th Street. Owner SP Broward Gardens LP. Property posted 10/27/2020. Posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the
One
city.
second, Jose.
Yeah.
We're waiting on the respondents. Please start your video so that you can be sworn in, Mr. Williams and Mr. Brown.
Ms. Brown.
Sorry, Ms. Brown.
Morning, Ms. Brown.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, Ms. Brown, is your name Luciello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And good morning, Mr. Williams. Oh, your mic, I can't hear you. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jose.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting case number as read. Permit were left to expire and stated in today's agenda. The city is asking the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
All right. Who's going to speak on behalf of the owner?
Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Unfortunately, Mr. Williams, we can't hear you.
Okay. So I'll speak on the behalf.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Ms. Brown. I think he's
Okay.
coming.
Bruce Williams, your audio is muted. Now you should be able to speak.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so what we saw the complaint, and what we're asking for is more time. This was a rehab that was done several years ago, and they're asking for a permit to be renewed or applied for again, and we can use the same plans that we had submitted before. So we are trying to get in contact with the contractor that performed the work so that we can either renew or apply for a new permit. If you guys would grant us 90 days, I believe we can get everything in order, if not before then.
All right. I'm going to give you 63 days. I find the violation does exist. 63 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next cases are on page 17 and 18. Inspector Jose Saragusti. On page 17, case number BE 20080172. Case address 5510 Northwest 10 Terrace. Owner 5512 Northwest 10 Terrace LLC. This property was cited on 8/18/2020 to comply by 8/19/2020. One section complied at $500 per day, $6,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount. Additionally, on page 18, we have case number BE 200800203. Case address 5512 Northwest 10 Terrace. Owner 5512 Northwest 10 Terrace LLC. Property was cited on 8/25/2020 to comply by 8/25/2020. One section complied at $150 per day, $300 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Mr. Budds. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
I have with me President of the company, Bob Sardone as well.
Okay, do you wish to speak also, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
He
you.
needs to state his name for the record.
Robert Cardone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. On behalf of the city.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting case number as read. The case is complied and the city is requesting fines to be imposed in both cases.
All right, who's going to speak on behalf of the owner?
Your Honor, I'll speak, Robert Cardone.
All right.
Your Honor, I mean, we as an organization are not challenging the violations by Mayor Saragusi or the city of Fort Lauderdale. What we are requesting is just consideration of the violation start date. As Mr. Saragusi went to the site, this is a concrete plant that is essential during COVID. We were running our business while we were under construction, and he posted, which is protocol, a notification on the outside of our building, exterior wall. And then I believe he came in and spoke to an hourly employee who unfortunately was not in the capacity of passing that information on. On August 25th, Your Honor, we received notification via certified mail. We then immediately contacted the inspector, and we completed one of the violations by the 28th and the other violation by the 31st. So we're just looking for consideration of the start date of the fines, Your Honor.
Anything else from the city?
The amount in the one violation, it has $300 amount, and the other violation, it has $6,000.
Out of the violation, 2 days and 1, 12 days. Ms. Hassan, you have anything you'd like to add?
Considering that it was in the weekend, we can remove 2 days from the violation.
Okay. All right. On page 17, $3,000. 18, impose the fines of $300. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. O'Fay, we noticed you got disconnected right at the ruling. We wanted to ensure that you heard the judge's decision.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay.
Did you hear the judge's decision before you were disconnected?
I didn't. That's the story of my life. I always get disconnected when I really, yeah, carry on.
He gave you a 91-day extension and stayed the fines until that time.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bottom of this, there was some confusion. Were you in compliance, not in compliance? And Mr. Oliva is involved with the inspector, and they'll be in touch with you, and we'll come to a fair resolution.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Our next case is on page 13. Case Inspector Mario Carrasquel. Case number CE 1904257. Case address 2599 North Federal Highway. Owner 3157 Inc. This case was first heard on 9/10/19 to comply by 10/22/19. Suspended 3/16/2020 to 9/4/2020. One section not complied at $50 per day. $10,600 accrued. The city is requesting full amount and fines continue to accrue.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Leo Martinez representing Inspector Mario Carrasquel.
1 second, Leonardo, please. Michael, we need you to unmute yourself.
Hello, Mr. Roth, can you hear us? Oh.
1 second, there's another respondent. Please unmute yourself. Jane, thank you.
Good morning. This is Jana Roth. Yes, good morning, Your Honor. This is Jana Roth.
Good morning.
And
Well, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Roth,
before you begin, please raise your right hand.
I'm an attorney.
Okay.
You still have to be sworn in.
Okay.
Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of the owner at 3157 Inc. And my client is actually trying to join, but he's experiencing an issue with his and with the video. So I am stepping in on his behalf. Essentially, my client is just here today to request additional time. He is trying to comply and finalize to get out of these to comply with the city. However, he has had some difficulty due to the pandemic. He has retained an engineer. He has a plan prepared. They had had some difficulties with the general contractor. They have been able to retain a general contractor. They are waiting for the contractor to submit the plans. He has communicated to me that he just needs an additional 60 days to complete this job.
On behalf of the city,
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Mario Carrasquel for the city of Lauderdale. Okay, this has been a long time since this case having come into compliance. What I will propose is to stay the fines and give them an additional 42 days to comply.
that sounds reasonable to me. He's been out of
Thank
compliance
you.
within 12 days. So I'm going to stay the fines as of this day and grant a 42-day extension. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is also on page 13. Inspector Mario Carrasquel. Case number BE 20070312. Case address 629 Northwest 14th Way. Owner CDH Management LLC. This property was cited on 7/23/2020 to comply by 7/23/2020. One section complied at $150 per day. $1,500 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Ms. Jamie. Can you raise your hand, please? Raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceeding? We can't hear you.
Anna, your audio settings is set incorrectly. Do you mind hitting the arrow up icon right next to the microphone, bottom left-hand corner, and ensure that the select a microphone is ensure that it's on your headphones.
No.
Technology.
She asked if we could hear her. Now we still can't hear her.
she- We're going to give the respondent time to have her settings fixed, and we'll recall her case.
All right.
So our next case is on page 15. Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Okay, he stepped out. We'll recall his case as well. Mr. Seeds, we are still awaiting your identification. Again, Mr. Seeds, we're still waiting your identification. We're gonna take a 2-minute break.
Okay.
Thank
Stand in
you.
recess for 10 minutes.
We're in recess for 2 minutes. Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Case number BE 20050429. Case address 1109 Southeast 11th Street. Owner house at 1109 Southeast 11th Street, LLC. This property was cited on 5/28/2020 to comply by 5/28/2020. One section complied at $150 per day, $450 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Excuse me. The N is 0429.
Yes, 0429.
Good morning, Your Honor.
We're waiting on this respondents.
Good morning, Mr. Salas.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand.
And Mr. Wright as well.
Oh, and Mr. Wright as well. Do you affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez, representing the city. This is a citation because there were construction materials and debris blocking the right of way. I just gonna let the owner to speak.
Which page?
Go ahead, Michael.
Page 15.
15.
Page 15.
15, all right.
Good morning, guys. We're here, I guess, regarding this violation number that you guys just referenced. We've had an interesting situation on this job site. The neighbor has called and created, I think, a total of 9 or 10 different violation cases. It's hard to keep track of specifically which this one is, or which ones have been closed or have been corrected, or they've all been corrected, but which ones are still an open issue with the city. As far as this violation is regarding construction debris in the right of way, we're on a 50-foot lot. At the time of delivery of those materials, whether anything that's in excess that can't be physically taken off by hand off of the truck brought inside gets dropped right aside the street, and then we need to remove it from that location. Again, out of all these violations, everyone has been complied with, including this one. I don't know how to state the situation differently, other than this neighbor had called on 11 or 12 different occasions. And obviously I've met with the building officials on site and spoken to them outside of that as well. At this point, we're just trying to figure out how to put all this to rest. And I don't know at the end of today if all these cases if all these different violations are addressed, or whatever we owe, whatever the magistrate's going to make us pay for some of these fines. I just want to try to put this to rest. The lady no longer owns the property. She moved back in October, and obviously those violations have stopped since then, but nonetheless, this is where we are today.
Anything else from the city?
Well, Your Honor, when we received the call, I went to the site and I found rebars on the sidewalk. I found other materials in there, and that's why, it was a violation, and I placed a citation. I issued a citation.
Thank you very much. I'm going to follow the city's recommendation and impose the full amount of the fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And what is the full amount of that fine? Because again, there's 9 different cases open.
$450.
And what does that $450 fine generate from? Is there a timeline to remove them, or being penalized per day? Did the city go back out to see that they were in fact resolved that same day? I'm trying to understand where the number's coming from.
The citation was $150 per day to be complied on the same day the citation was issued. The inspector came back and it was complied within on the 3rd day.
So the first question I have to that is when they come out to do an inspection based on the neighbor calling, isn't there a timeline to address whatever the violation may be? And if they came out 3 days later and saw that it was cleared, did they come out that same day to see that it was cleared as well? My question is at what point when is that fine really supposed to kick in? The moment the inspector comes to our site to look into what the neighbor's calling about? I mean, is there not a period to react to what that is? And then, like I said, to come out 3 days later and say that it's taken care of, which it was, but at what point does that get reduced? I mean, again, I'm not sure the procedure.
Sir, you were given a time limit to comply. You didn't.
What was that time?
Within the
Same
time.
day. You had to comply the same day, sir.
You complied 3 days later. Okay, so the ruling has been made and the ruling stands.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then is there anything that's being, regarding these other open cases, is that something that just gets pushed to the next meeting? I'm not sure. I mean, we've spoken to the commissioner, we've spoken to Anthony, we've spoken to Victor Blanco, I've spoken to.
Sir, I do not know, and we have other cases to call.
So $450 is what we owe you?
Yes, the fine is $450.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Our next case is on page 4.
Easy. City work for you right there.
Is that it?
No, it's not. They won't give us the information. They say it's $450 for the one case, but the other 11, they won't address until they get to you. Makes a lot of sense.
Our next case is on page 4. Inspector Jose Saragusti, case number BE 200400206, case address 321 Northeast 16th Avenue, owner William and Carla McLaren. Property was posted on 10/27/2020 and posted at City Hall on 10/27/2020. William, please unmute your microphone and start your video, please.
Hi, Mr. McLaren? Yes, please unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do, so help me God.
Thank you.
The inspector for the city present the case number as read. The permit is issued, the case is complied.
Mr. McLaren, the inspector stated that the case is now complied.
Is complied.
Yes, he stated that the case is complied. I've opened the permits. The work's getting done. I just caught off guard.
Case is complied.
Okay.
That's good news for you, and you don't need to say anything else.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saragusti, very much.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Our next case is on page 14. Inspector Leonardo Martinez, case number CE 19051788, case address 3102 Southwest 15th Court, owner Alexandre Pucieldi. This case was first heard on 11/12/19 to comply by 1/14/2020, suspended 3/10/2020 to 4/8/2020, and 4/9/2020 to 9/4/2020. One section complied at $50 per day, $4,800 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Hi, Mr. Alexandre?
Yes, hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Waiting for the inspector.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez, representing the city. This case is complied. I will request, or I will suggest the fines to be reduced of $575 administration cost.
All right, sir, did you understand what the inspector said?
Yes, I did, sir.
All right, what the fines are waived, $575 administrative costs.
Okay, thank you. And how the procedure and payment and what I have to do on that?
You'll get an order in the mail.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Phone number ending in 3049. Please hit *6 to unmute yourself. All right, one more time. Phone number ending in 3049. Please hit *6 to unmute yourself.
I have unmuted the phone. This is Anna.
Hello, Anna.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. It's very nice to see that we finally got your audio to work.
Thank you, me too.
So our next case is on page 13, Inspector Mario Carrasquel, case number BE 20070312, case address 629 Northwest 14th Way, owner CDH Management LLC. This property was cited on 7/23/2020 to comply by 7/23/2020. One section complied at $150, $1,500 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, where are we? What page?
She needs to be sworn in.
Good morning, Anna.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, I can't, you don't have video? Oh, okay.
No, I don't. I have to dial in with the phone.
Okay, just state your name for the record, please.
My name is Ana Jaime.
Okay, do you swear?
Representing-
It's okay. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
Yes, I do swear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Mario Carrasquel for the City of Fort Lauderdale. This case complied. I will suggest to reduce the fines to the administration cost of $275.
Right. Okay, ma'am, did you understand what the inspector said?
Yes, and I appreciate that.
All right. Okay, the fines are waived, administrative costs, $475.
$275.
$275, thank you,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next case is on page 15. Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Case number BE 20030025. Case address 2800 West Broad Boulevard, owner 12 SAC Self Storage Corp. This property was cited on 3/7/2020 to comply by 3/7/2020. One section complied at $500 per day. $37,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount. Good morning, Mr. Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
It appears that we're still having difficulty receiving your identification. Hopefully you're sitting still. Is it possible you can show it to us on the screen?
Can you hear you one more time, please?
Preferably you're sitting still and not driving. Is it possible for you to show us your identification on the screen?
Sure, hold on one.
That's
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seeds, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may go ahead.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez, in behalf of the city, this is a citation due to on this location, they were obstructing the sidewalk with pile of dirt for several days. I'm gonna let the representative to speak.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I just want to say, first of all, I'm kind of thrown in the middle of this. The gentleman that's in charge of the district area for U-Haul is in ICU and with battling COVID right now. From what I understand, we did hire, a firm to take care of our sprinkler system, which on the whole property, we've had to put new sidewalks in, new landscaping, and a whole sprinkler system. They did dig up the sprinkler system, and yes, I know they did leave dirt on a couple days on the sidewalk. We did have some bad weather at that time, and they were getting rained out during the course of the time when we started the construction. We also put in new curbing around the whole facility, and we're just looking basically for a reduction on fines, whatever you can do for us. I pretty much think that we're compliant on everything. The final inspection was done and passed from what I understand, and that's about all what I have right now at this time.
Right. Of course, it bothers me you were out of compliance for 74 days. Would you like to comment on that?
No, like I said, I was not in charge of this project. And, by the time we had to put in the sidewalks, the landscaping, the curbing, we had a problem with the curbing company. But I believe everything is complete and up to satisfactory right now, sir.
Anything else from the city?
Yes, sir. I just want to point that I went there several times. I spoke to the manager of U-Haul concerned about, because it's a central street. We're talking about Broward Boulevard, and the sidewalk was a mess. I talked to the manager of the U-Haul. One day I went there and I spoke to one of the supervisors from the sprinkler company, and there was no answer. And I mean, I don't know how many trips or how many times I went there and tried to get this violation to be corrected.
All right, sir. I'm going to reduce the fines to $15,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our next case is on page 18. Inspector Jose Saragusti. Case number CE 1905035. Case address 1840 Southwest 37th Way. Owners Agatha and Rodriguez Mergiles. This case was first heard 11/12/19 to comply by 12/24/19. Suspended 2/11/2020 to 9/4/2020. One section complied at $50 per day. $2,500 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount. 1840 Southwest 37th Way.
José Saragusti, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number as read.
Hold on one second, Jose. It looks like the respondent is having technical difficulties again. The respondent has just signed back in. We're waiting on them now. Jose, we're going to move to calling the non-respondents, and the moderator is going to assist
Okay, thank you.
the respondent. And hopefully we get him in before we're done with the hearing. If not, we will reschedule his case to be heard. So our next case is on page 1. Chief Inspector George Oliva. Case number BE 20-10050, case address 315 Southeast 7th Street. Owner, D. Federico Fazio, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Good morning, Your Honor. Chief Oliva, on behalf of the city, case and address as read. The report was submitted to the city on October 22nd, 2020, but it failed due to repairs. The city is asking for the owners to come into compliance by submitting a new report in the next 180 days or a fine of $100 per day thereafter. So far, the city will recommend a 180-day extension.
Very good. I'm going to accept the city's recommendation, 180 days, $100 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on page 1, case number Inspector Leonardo Martinez. Case number CE 1908094, case address 1800 North Andrews Avenue. Owner Drake Tower Inc. Condo Association, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020. CE 1908094 on page 1.
Morning, Your Honor. Inspector Martinez representing the city. This case is complied.
Mhm. Okay, so we'll probably just do it like that. Our next case is on page 3. Case, Inspector Jose Saragusti, case number BE 20040019. Case address 7 Northeast 16th Street, owner Brooks Family Properties LLC. Property posted 10/27/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presented case number as read. Permit were left to expire and state in today's agenda. The city is asking the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on
Thank you.
page 4. Inspector Jose Saragusti, case number BE 20050194. Case address 920 Northeast 20th Avenue. Owner Luigi and Lilian Tatara. Property posted 10/28/2020. Posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting case number as read. Permit were left to expire and state as stated in today's agenda. The city is asking the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Thank you.
Our next case on page 4, Inspector Jorge Martinez. Case number BE 20040031. Case address 26 South Compass Drive, owner BC26 LLC. Property posted 10/26/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in this agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance with, this case is complied.
Complied.
Our
Complied.
next,
Yes.
our next case on page 4, Inspector Jorge Martinez, case number BE 20040032. Case address 50 Bay Colony Lane. Owner Charles and Jean Del Vecchio. Property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Can you repeat the address?
50 Bay Colony Lane.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. This case is complied.
Our next case is on page 5. Case number BE 20040037. Case address 54 Isle of Venice, number 10. Owner Jonathan Bartolotta. Property posted 10/26/2020. Posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 5, case number BE 200400062. Case address 110 Southwest 30th Avenue. Owner Ricky E. Williams. Property posted 10/28/2020. Posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day.
Our next case is on page 6. Inspector Jorge Martinez, case number BE 20040122, case address 205 Southeast 20th Street, owner Karma 205 LLC, property posted 10/26/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. This case is complied.
Our next case on page 6, case number BE 20040173, case address 237 City View Drive, owner John Radiker, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 42 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 6, case number CD-191111340, case address 916 North Victoria Park Road, number 1 through 5, owner 53 Victoria Park LLC, property posted 10/26/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. 9-1D, any violation of the Florida Building Code shall be a violation of this section and punishable as provided for in this section. There is work that has been done without permit, including but not limited to, there's a new fence that was installed without the required permits. The city will request 63 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 63 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on page 7. Inspector Jorge Martinez, case number CE 200-21074, case address 1432 Northwest 3rd Avenue, owner Ari Property Fund LLC, property posted 10/26/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. 9-1D, any violation of the Florida Building Code shall be a violation of this section and punishable as provided for in this section. There's work that has been done without permit, including but not limited to, there's a new roof that was installed without the required permits. The city will request 42 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on page 9. I'm sorry, one second. I'm sorry, Alejandro. I have to recall 2 cases, Jorge. On page 6 and 7, the 2 cases for work without permits.
He said he did upload them.
to ensure
Can you
that
get from Q? Can you get the Q drive from here?
the inspector's evidence is captured for the record. We're recalling the case on page 6.
Can we get the Q drive from here?
Sure. So our next case is on page 9. Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Case number BE 20060171, case address 2021 Northwest 10th Avenue. Owner Jeanette Boyd, property posted 10/27/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
On page 9, case number BE 200-60226, case address 2212 Southwest 13th Street. Owner Vinny and Wendell Cato, property posted 10/27/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
Okay, I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 9, case number BE 2006-0228, case address 2200 North Ocean Boulevard. Owner 2200 Fort Lauderdale Beach Master Association. Property posted 10/29/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 10, Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, case number BE 2006-0274, case address 2501 Del Lago Drive. Owner Mays Trust, property posted 10/27/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 10, case number BE 2006-0287, case address 2600 North Southwest 12th Terrace. Owner Fable Properties LLC, property posted 10/27/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
On page 10, case number BE 2006-0310, case address 2701 North Ocean Boulevard, number 11D. Owner Tracy Noel, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 10, case number BE 200-70029, case address 2841 North Ocean Boulevard, number 1003. Owner Blanca Caceres, property posted 10/29/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
Find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on page 11. Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, case number BE 2007-0088, case address 2901 Vistamar Street. Owner Tranquilla Hotel LLC, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 11, case numbers BE 200700112, case address 3000 East Sunrise Boulevard, number 16G, owner Pietro and Josephine Amato, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case on page 11, case number BE 200800008, case address 4250 Gulf Ocean Drive, number 2T, owner Charles Lightbody, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is on page 12, Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, case number BE 200800098, case address 5900 Northeast 22nd Way, number 801, owner Bruce Keno, property posted 10/28/2020, posted at City Hall 10/27/2020.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. There are expired permits related to this property. City is requesting 42 days to comply or $50 per day thereafter.
I find the violation does exist, 42 days to comply, $50 per day thereafter.
Our next case is a hearing to impose fines on page 13. Case number BE 200500359, case address 1915 Southwest 5th Court, owner Lennar Homes LLC. This property was cited on 5/22/2020 to comply by 5/23/2020. One section complied at $250 per day. $500 is accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
The city's request is granted.
On page 13, case number BE 200600162, case address 3217 now Northeast 40th Street, owner Glenn Cotton. This property was cited on 6/10/2020 to comply by 6/10/2020. One section complied at $150 per day. $3,700 accrued. $3,750 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
Our next case is on page 14. Case number BE 200600009. Case address 2424 Aqua Vista Boulevard, owner 2424 Aqua Vista LLC. This property was cited on 6/1/2020 to comply by 6/1/2020. One section complied at $150 per day. $1,950 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
On page 14, case number BE 200800196, case address 401 Lido Drive, owner 401 Lido LLC. This property was cited on 8/25/2020 to comply by 8/25/2020. One section complied at $500 per day. $1,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
Our next case is on page 15. Case number BE 200500363, case address 717 Northeast 5th Terrace, owner Flagler Village Land Trust, Stephen B. Greenfield trustee. This property was cited on 5/22/2020 to comply by 5/23/2020. One section complied at $200 per day. $800 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
Our next case is on page 16. Case number BE 200600008, case address 432 Coconut Isle Drive, owner Nuno Biera Revocable Trust, Nuno Biera trustee. This property was cited on 5/31/2020 to comply by 6/1/2020. One section complied at $150 per day. $1,200 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
Our next case is on page 17, case number BE 200600071, case address 116 South Federal Highway, owner Los Olas Walk Owner LP. This property was cited on 6/4/2020 to comply by 6/4/2020. One section complied at $500 per day. $1,500 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
The city's request is granted.
Okay.
On page 17, case number BE
Okay, so
2008060,
one of our network engineers
property address 401 Lido Drive,
for this laptop to access the.
owner 401 Lido LLC. This property was cited on 8/5/2020 to comply by 8/5/2021 section complied at $500 per day, $2,000 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
On page 17, case number BE 2008018, case address 401 Lido Drive, owner 401 Lido LLC. This property was cited on 8/22/2020 to comply by 8/22/2020. One section complied at $500 per day, $1,500 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
Yes.
The city's request is granted.
Our next case is on page 18, case number BE 2008018, case address 2312 Sea Island Drive, owner David Wolf. This property was cited on 8/22/2020 to comply by 8/23/2020. One section complied at $200 per day, $600 accrued, and the city is requesting full amount.
City's request is granted.
The city is requesting to reschedule case number CE
Yeah, so
190503115.
we have to.
That has been
put in a
rescheduled.
Ticket for one of the network engineers to be able to resolve this, because I don't have administrative rights to provide, authorization. for these accounts.
One moment as I see if we can recall cases on pages 6 and 7 for
On their schedule. Okay, so they'll fit it. into
photo
the schedule, and
evidence.
At some point, hopefully, next time.
Photo evidence.
Very sorry about the.
Rhonda?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I need your opinion. The photos were uploaded to the wrong drive, thus we cannot view the photos. Should these cases be?
So for the record, Rhonda Montoya Hassan, City Attorney's Office, I think we need to reset them because these are work without permits, these two cases, as opposed to expired permits. Work without permit, you need to show photographic evidence of the work that was done without permit. And if we don't have those, again, whatever, just wrong drive, but we'll need to reset the two cases.
No problem. So on page 6, case number CE-19111340, the city is asking the special magistrate to vacate the prior order so that we can reschedule the case.
All right. Which case are we on, please?
On page 6 at the bottom, case number CE-19111340. The city is requesting to vacate the prior order from today's hearing and reschedule the case.
The city's request is granted.
Additionally, on page 7, for case number CE-20021074, the city is requesting to vacate the prior order from today's hearing and reschedule the case.
The city's request is granted.
The city is requesting to have page 19 entered into today's hearing as an exhibit. It is the city's list of closed, complied, withdrawn cases.
Granted.
And this concludes the Building and Construction Enforcement Special Magistrate Virtual Hearing for November 10th, 2020.
Everyone have a wonderful day.
You too, Rhonda. Thank you.